This is the official history of Millwall Football Club, the story of the first 110 years. From Harry Cripps to Teddy Sherringham, from Barry Kitchener to Ben Thatcher, from Morton's Jam Factory to the New Den, the Lions have a proud record, and this exclusive programme is packed with nostalgia. We'll be taking you back on a magical trip down the ages, reliving the club's greatest achievements, including 1988, when the Lions finally made it to the First Division after 103 years. No one likes us, but we don't care. The Lions have had to endure some difficult moments down the years, but there's always been a special atmosphere at the club, a fact much appreciated by Millwall's players past and present.
The fans, well, you can't say anything about the fans. Fantastic.
Coming up over the next 100 minutes, we'll be savouring the highlights of Millwall's proud history, recounting the great changes that have happened both on and off the pitch. We guarantee a happy ending with another chance to see the Lions' famous giant-killing exploits of 1995, including a superb FA Cup conquest of Arsenal at Highbury. This is where it all began in 1885, Morton's Jam Factory on the Isle of Dogs, on land adjacent to Millwall Docks. The island, as it's more commonly known by the locals, accommodated the club for 25 years at 4 different sites. It was the employees of Morton's who first put the club on the map under the name of Millwall Rovers. Some of these workmen may in fact have been early players. The company's strong Scottish connection explained the selection of a navy blue and white team strip. The colours, of course, have survived the test of time, but sadly all that remains of Millwall's first home ground, once a piece of wasteland close by Morton's and Glengall Road, is a modern housing estate. The Lord Nelson Public House in East Ferry Road was Millwall's second home. Between 1886 and 1890, this was the club's headquarters. With the pitch only 500 yards away, the Nelson was used as changing rooms. It was here that the club won their first trophy, the East End Senior Cup. They won it 3 times, and in 1889, after surviving the threat of closure, the club changed its name to Millwall Athletic. Next stop was the George Hotel. This was how it looked during Millwall's time on the island at the end of the 19th century. The move to the George in 1890, following eviction from the Lord Nelson, lasted 11 years. By now pioneers of the Southern League, they won the title twice, in 1894 and 1895. During their period at the George, Millwall played their matches at the nearby Athletic Ground on East Ferry Road, land lease from the Millwall Dock Company. A grand conception that was never fully realised, it was nonetheless a venue able to accommodate large crowds, in excess of 20,000 spectators. The biggest gate of 22,000 came in an FA Cup tie against Aston Villa on the turn of the century. Millwall went on to reach the semi-finals. Fans would arrive at games by a variety of transport, by ferry across the water from Deptford to North Greenwich, or more commonly by the Millwall Dock train, described as little more than cattle trucks by one local reporter. The athletic ground was just a short walk from the dock station. Also used by fans travelling from Poplar was a horse-drawn tram. Today the site of the athletic ground is the home of a giant Asda superstore, and the only real landmark that remains is a huge chimney, recognisable in many old photographs. In 1901, eviction by the Dock Company meant Millwall were on the move again, this time to the North Greenwich ground, their third home on the East Ferry Road. By now Athletic had been dropped from the club's name, and it was just plain old Millwall. It was slightly smaller than the athletic ground, but North Greenwich had more seats, and various ground improvements carried out by the club included the building of a new grandstand. What remains today is this area of parkland, and little evidence of the ground that had a capacity of well over 20,000. Sadly, only a handful of old photographs are left to remind us of Millwall's colourful past, of glorious days gone by when the club's real foundations were laid during a quarter of a century on the Isle of Dogs. The early years provided Millwall Football Club with its roots. To follow were 82 seasons at Coldblow Lane that gave the Lions a new identity. Throughout the rest of the programme, we'll be hearing from some of the most outstanding characters who've pulled on the famous Millwall shirt. Players with special memories of life with the Lions. Millwall arrived at the Den in 1910, and this was how it looked on the official opening in October of that year. There are few pictorial records of the early years at Coldblow Lane, but the photographs that remain confirm the ground was well used, from the staging of an international match in which England beat Wales 3-0 before a crowd of around 25,000, to local sports days organised by the club's trainer, Robert Hunter. Millwall's first full-time manager was Herbert Lipsham, a former player and the first of 6 managers who held office by the end of the Second World War. His successor was Robert Hunter, already a popular figure at the club, where he spent more than 20 years as trainer before he became the boss in 1918. Millwall were then still in the Southern League, but 2 years later Hunter's team became founder members of Division 3. 8 years on, Hunter's team won their first Football League honour, when they were promoted as champions of the 3rd Division South. A crushing 5-2 victory at Walsall was a result that just about secured the Lions' success. 12 months earlier, Richard Parker had secured his name in the club's Hall of Fame, with a prolific individual goal-scoring record. 37 goals in the 1926-27 season was a league tally that no Millwall player has been able to match ever since. During the 20s, the Den became a regular venue for the FA Amateur Cup final. In all, Coldblow Lane staged 6 amateur finals, more than any other London club, an arrangement that led to Millwall making a succession of successful signings. Willie Bryant skippered Clapton to 2 amateur finals before joining the Lions. Work commitments meant the attacking centre-half could only play at weekends. Nonetheless, he still became a key member of Millwall's championship-winning side. In 1933, following the death of Robert Hunter, Bill McCracken became the first man from outside the club to take over as manager. The result was relegation in his first season in charge. A couple of years later, in came Charlie Hewitt, and the start of a successful end to the decade, an era that's fondly remembered by former player Reg Smith.
I think it is a club that has been blessed over the years with continuity of players. I think that's why it's never really been a club in the doldrums. No. It's always been a club that people looked at and looked forward to. And I think that is the big reason. That has been a feeling within the club that we're all together.
They played some good football. When people talk about the Millwall crowd, they're worth 2 goals to you. The Bill of years ago was worth 2 goals to you because of the support you've got. I mean, I've been watching football at Highbury and Tottenham and all that. They're all right while they're doing well. But you don't get the support when the tails are down. And Millwall, I mean, I've seen people with 2 or 3 layers of inches of snow while they've been staying with it snowing, still turn up. In those days, they didn't have the covered stands and that sort of thing, and they'd still now come from a long way away. A lot of people have moved out to where, like Johnny Johnson is now, Kent. They still come, but the main thing is the Dogs being moved out of the regions they were in, the Surrey, Woolwich and all that. Well, that was the 90% of the Millwall support was Dockers.
Oh, yeah.
And they were, and comedians, the wit. I mean, very, weren't they?
Oh, yeah.
Satire.
London. The people in London have far more humour than anywhere you go, really. It's really something that goes with London.
I've played against players that have said to me, McLaren is going to finish, I can't stand this noise.
An electrician by trade, Smith played a key role in the historic installation of the Millwall clock. At its time, it was the largest clock at a football ground in Britain. Sadly, 6 years later, it was destroyed by a German bomb during the Second World War.
I was actually an accomplished electrician. I was a tradesman from that point of view. So it just became a second job to me, that was all. Didn't last for long.
"1937 was also the year that Millwall went down in history as becoming the first side from Division 3 to reach the semi-finals of the FA Cup. The Wembley trail had begun with a 6-1 win at Aldershot, followed by a 7-0 thrashing of Gateshead, the club's biggest FA Cup win, and a 2-0 victory over Fulham in round 3. Millwall's impressive run continued against First Division Chelsea.
Millwall produced one of the big surprises of the fourth round when they defeated Chelsea by 3-0. Here's the Chelsea team. Millwall in red shirts and white shorts made the most of their opportunities, and despite nervousness at the start, they soon established their superiority. Here the weather was depressing too. After half an hour the home side took the lead, and 2 more goals took them on to round 5. A record crowd packed into the Millwall ground for the only cup tie in London, and before the game began hundreds left their places and ran to find better seats. Order was restored after a time, and then the teams came out. First Millwall, while the crowd surged and swayed like a wheat field in a wind. Then the white-jerseyed men from the north, Derby County. Derby won the toss, and Millwall kicked off in the face of a stiffish breeze. Thrills came early. A vigorous attack by Derby found the Millwall goal in danger. A shot. But it went safely into the crowd. Again the onlookers got restive and rushed across the pitch. Then once more the play got really exciting and the spectators got all worked up. A few minutes later came the first goal for Derby. A battering attack found Keane in possession and he scored. Shortly afterwards, Millwall equalised through Mangnall, and the score at half-time was 1-1. Derby kicked off in the second half, and this period saw the struggle of two teams battling for that extra goal to get into round 6. It seemed that Millwall had it. From a centre, the ball went to Mangnall, who popped it into the Derby net, but it was offside. Are you still eating? At last, Millwall's persistent attack had its reward. McCartney took the ball and nicked it in, so Millwall won a grand game by 2-1. And for a finish, the crowd ran wild, bursting over the pitch in a crazy, chaotic mess. A cup tie never witnessed any more amazing scenes. A tremendous crowd saw football history made at the Den, when the London side from Division 3 smashed their way through round 6. While the home side were coming out, the usual casualties were being passed down after having passed out. Then Manchester City came out. The toss-up and the kick-off were moments of breathless excitement, the choice of end, and then the start of a match that meant so much. Millwall have been the surprise packet of the 1937 ties. Could they possibly produce another win? The home side forced a corner, and then, playing his first cup tie for Millwall, Barker sent a header flying into the City net. Half-time, bring out the lemons. In the second half, Manchester City brought on all the football they knew, but the home side kept their end up. Then came another Millwall goal. This time Mangnall got his head to it and scored. Millwall 2, Manchester City 0. That was the score at the final whistle, and the crowd again went surging over the pitch, cheering the only third division side ever to reach the semi-final.
So Millwall's remarkable run had taken them all the way to the semi-finals, but that was where the road to Wembley ended. A 2-1 semi-final defeat by Sunderland curtailed the Lions' dreams of further glory.
In Manchester City was
they were all
fantastic.
The
they were
the favourites.
They had Tilson and all these Brooks
Clark.
and all these great players.
Doherty.
And Doherty. Well, we weren't given any chance against Chelsea, let's be honest. But we beat them too. Yeah. And we were a good side. And I, as I've said before, the amalgamation of players becoming as a body instead of 11 units will always make a successful side. I'm sure of it. They don't need exceptional ability, they get together and they fight for one another, and you've got success.
But 12 months later, the Lions bounced back with promotion to the second division, winning the third division south for the second time. Triumphant manager Charlie Hewitt would spend another 2 years in charge before resigning following an FA suspension in June 1940. The war years, of course, would prove a difficult time for everyone, but Millwall were determined to carry on, guided by their fifth manager, Bill Voisey. Voisey, a distinguished hero from the First World War, with full military honours, often had difficulty raising a team. A former England international, even had to play himself on occasions at the ripe old age of 50. Another problem, of course, was the bombs. The Den was badly damaged in April 1943. It was a year later before they finally returned to carry on playing in front of the wreckage. This was the scene in March 1944. In November of that year, and with the war almost over, Jack Cock took over as manager, with Voisey reverting to trainer. Cock, another former player, had set a Millwall record of 77 goals in 4 seasons that would stand until the 70s. Just 5 months into Cock's reign, Millwall finally made it to a cup final at Wembley, the southern section of a wartime competition organised by the Football League. A clash of colours meant Millwall wore the white shirts of England. Nonetheless, it was Chelsea who took the honours, claiming victory by 2-0. For Ed Smith, the biggest disappointment was again missing out on appearing at Wembley.
So I played many games for Millwall in the war years. I was attached to a government department, and I could get in to play football, which I did, but I wasn't selected that day, so I missed it, and I've never played at Wembley.
How did you feel about that?
Well, I'm not really, because it was only that if I was asked to play, then I was available to play. But I played for Tottenham in those same years. So, you know, it was just one of those things. And they must have had the side that they wanted without my assistance, so fair enough.
But one man who did make Millwall's Wembley lineup was George Fisher.
And I nearly never made it because the semi-final we played Arsenal, and I got a bad ankle, twisted, went over on it, and it was all swelling up. And that was funny because on the week before the final was played, Stanley Matthews was playing for Arsenal, for Chelsea on Monday. Then he wasn't playing on Tuesday. Then he was on Wednesday, and then he wasn't on Thursday.
Morton was the same.
And in the end, he never played. But that was the sort of thing I was looking forward to. Either, you know, God, enough playing in the FUT final. But there was 108,000 at that game, and we got 2, 3, and 6 tickets.
Lucky.
And I had a family of 20 of, so you could less. A lot of them didn't go to the game, but.
Yeah.
Millwall had well and truly established their roots at Culblow Lane. After 4 temporary stops on the Isle of Dogs, the Lions had finally settled down at the Den, and there were plenty of good times still to come. The winds of change had certainly taken their toll. In the years that followed the Second World War, it was standing room only at Culblow Lane. Following the fire damage of 1943, the Den was temporarily a seat-free zone. It was during this period that Millwall recorded their record Football League attendance, a crowd of 45,000 packing the Den for the match against Notts County in October 1948.
We had marvellous support, actually. When I first went there, they'd lost a stand. But in the second division, we had anything from 30 to 40,000. And all the people who stood up on that, and they would never allow it today, but they did. Then when we dropped into the third division, and Tommy Lawton went to Notts County, and they came down, there was 45,000 out that day. And we beat them 3-2, I think. George Fisher played outside left that day.
Did he really?
I think he scored, I'm not sure.
A boardroom change during that year signalled the end of Jack Cock's reign as manager. In came former boss Charlie Hewitt. He didn't have the financial backing he received during the pre-war reign. The rebuilding of the main stand meant a lack of revenue. Nonetheless, Hewitt led the Lions to the runners-up spot in the 3rd Division South in 1953. Along the way, they were knocked out of the FA Cup by Manchester United.
Well, the atmosphere was always a marvellous atmosphere. You had a very good crowd of chaps, you know. Wouldn't go a lot on the manager, Charlie, but amongst ourselves...
Charlie Hewitt, you mean?
Yeah. Amongst ourselves, there was a wonderful spirit. We all mucked in together. In those days, there was never any jealousy in those days. We were all more or less on the same money kind of stuff. There was no... there was a maximum wage, and everybody was more or less on the same money, and everybody was together. All right, you might lose a pound if you dropped into the reserve side, you know, sliding scale, probably 10, I think it was 10 in the summer, 11 in the second team, and 12 in the first team.
In 1956, Hewitt was sacked and later won a court case for unfair dismissal. In the meantime, his assistant, Ron Gray, had taken charge, and 12 months later, in January 1957, the Lions claimed a memorable FA Cup scalp against Newcastle United.
I still remember the game against Newcastle when we got to the... we actually went on to the 5th round of the FA Cup when we got beaten by Birmingham. But when we played Newcastle, the crowd gate said it was 48,500, but they were sitting all around the running track that day. I'm sure it was over 50,000 in that ground that day, and it was a fabulous, fabulous day, and we footballed them off the park. And they had 8 internationals against us that day, and Jackie Morgan was sitting on the line. He was reserve. He never got in the Newcastle team, but Millwall played brilliant that day.
He was getting old. He was like me, Jackie Morgan.
But no, that was a fabulous memory as well, and that was in front of the biggest crowd that I ever played in front of. That must have been over 50,000 that day, and that takes a bit of fitting into the den, 50,000 people.
Millwall had conquered a side who'd already won the Cup 3 times in the 50s, and what made their feat even more remarkable was that 2-goal hero Stan Anslow was really a full-back playing as emergency centre-forward. Over the next 5 years at Coldblow Lane came no less than 4 managerial changes. James Seed took over in January 1958 for 18 months, Ron Gray reverting to assistant, and then came a similar spell in the hot seat for former player Reg Smith.
Counting back, there was 5 managers in the 11 seasons I was there, and 6 trainers. One of the managers was manager twice, and that was Ron Gray.
Yeah.
I mean, the first manager was Charlie Hewitt, who we've already mentioned in our discussion earlier, who wasn't particularly liked by any of the players. And then I had the great Jimmy Seed, who came and was manager at Millwall for a short time. Ron Gray. And then Reg Smith, who you've already interviewed today, and Ron Gray again. So in all, I saw the 5 managers, and as I said, 6 trainers as well. And that varied dramatically, actually, from the way they coached to some who sat in the dressing room and just talked a good game, and others that really had you running 20 miles a day. So there's quite a variety in the type of trainers that we dealt with, you know.
The end of Reg Smith's reign as manager in January 1961 was followed by the return of Ron Gray. The very next season, Millwall became champions of Division 4. But this was an up-and-down period for the Lions. Relegated in 1964 under new player-manager William Gray, they bounced back as 4th Division runners-up 12 months later. And then in 1966 came a second successive promotion, when they finished runners-up in Division 3. It was the start of a golden era for Millwall.
When I went out there, I felt 10 foot tall because the fans made me it, you know, and that was tremendous. Tremendous. I've always remembered the fans, and you know, I'll never forget the fans.
I think I learnt from Harry really is that when Harry used to play, he used to give 100% or even 110%, and I learned from that. If anyone gives 110%, the crowd are right behind you, and that helped me throughout my career. As long as you give 100%, the crowd will be behind you all the way.
To start with, we were getting crowds of what, 20,000, 30,000, and I mean, it was no segregation obviously these days, and it was a bit frightening when you're sitting in the dressing room, hear the noise and that. And if you're having a bad time, they'll let you know it, which I had a bad day for about a year and a half. But you had the good times and bad times, but we had 4 or 5 good years. We got promotion 2 years running, from the 4th up to the 2nd. So we never had a lot of failure at the Den, more failure away from the Den sort of style, but no, it was good. The fans were tremendous.
During the second half of the 60s, Millwall set a new record for the most number of unbeaten home matches. A 2-1 win over Carlisle at the Den on the 26th of November 1966 took the Lions past a previous 55-match record held by Reading. The Lions went on to extend the run to 59 against Norwich on Boxing Day, before finally losing to Plymouth in the first home match of the new year.
The teams didn't used to like playing there. They used to come there, and they didn't used to like coming. That's why we went 59 games without getting beat at home.
That's right, yeah.
And teams didn't used to like coming there.
In 1971, Millwall set off on a campaign that would take them to the very brink of winning a place in the top flight of the Football League. Unlike previous seasons when Millwall topped the table but then faded out of the promotion reckoning, this time the Lions managed to sustain their challenge right to the end. The Lions lost just 6 matches in a season that was packed with goals.
To Malone, looking for Watson. Here's his chance. Well, Dave Watson was looking for his 11th goal then since joining Sunderland, and he won't get much closer than that. And the keeper really reflex action. Hughes just had lifted that foot ready to shoot when Dorney got ahead to it. So a few moments of excitement here in the Millwall penalty area. Kerr's throw, plenty of distance. Watson, not his head, almost in. It's in, put in by Watson. I think or was it Pitt? Yes, it's Richie Pitt. Watson, back to Kerr now. One of the players still down. There's Hughes, it's in, off Hughes. It's Kitchener who's down, Bolland down in the foreground, and Millwall depleted as Hughes scores his 2nd goal in 2 matches. And I can see Kitchener now just crawling back to his feet as the trainer comes on to him. There's Martin Harvey, headed on by Smethurst, back by Bridges, posse going in, and well taken by the youngster. Forster taking that very well and cleanly, but a free kick, and Cripps protesting vehemently to the referee. Number 3 is Cripps. Indirect free kick, as you can see, inside the area. That's the decision of Mr. Hackney. So that's how close the Sunderland wall is. 5 of them in it at the moment, and Forster really like a cat on a hot tin roof on his line there. Coleman on that far post. Every player but 3 in fact, in the penalty area. I have never seen a penalty area more crowded, more congested. They're all there now, except 2 Millwall players in the centre circle. Every player in the Sunderland side is back. Bolland, it's in, and what a goal. He really hit that perfectly. It was touched across to him, and he really got behind it, and Forster had no chance in the world as that went over the top of the wall and into that top corner. Watson trapping it well. The Tuitt now. Kerr's up in the area and Hughes on the far side. Chambers, number 7, looking for Hughes. Hughes going to take him on. Good ball from Hughes. Chance, it's there! It's Kerr! Well, Billy Hughes had success written all over that move as he pulled it back to find little Kerr scoring his 6th goal of the season and Sunderland's 3rd of today. Doug Alder, the substitute, taking this corner with his left foot. And Forster taking it, third bite. No, it's in. It's a goal. Scored there by Derek Smethurst, I think. Yes, that's him, Derek Smethurst, number 10, who pushed it through. It came off the hands of one of the Sunderland players. But that makes the scoreline much more interesting now from a Millwall point of view, with Derek Smethurst scoring what I think is his 2nd goal of the season, as he forced that one through that defensive melee of players and into the back of the net. Smethurst making good ground to lift it in, and a good save there by Forster as he just got a foot to it. But what a hot shot there from the former Chelsea player, because that one would have snuck inside there if the goalkeeper hadn't got a foot to it. Good work again by Smethurst, and he really is being a very valuable player indeed for the London side. So Bolland with the corner. There it is. They've got the equaliser, and it's Posse, I think, who put it in. Yes, Derek Posse, the equalising scorer. So 3-3 then, with 5 of those goals coming in the second half.
Derek Posse was Millwall's top goal scorer that season. His 17-goal haul included 15 in the league, 2 in the cup, and the goal of the season against Birmingham at the Den.
Francis trying to turn quickly and full Brown, but Brown is close in on him, and now Alder to sprint away for Millwall. Carroll there with him. Millwall's throw. Doug Alder. Bridges. Brought down and a penalty given. A penalty to Millwall with 4.5 minutes gone. I don't think Birmingham could have too many complaints about it. And certainly the referee Williams had absolutely no doubts at all. So Bolland, who scored 2 penalties in the last home game against Watford, quickly to get into practice again. Gordon Bolland, a very important kick so early in an important game against Mike Kelly in that Birmingham goal. And he's made it. Beautifully side-footing that one away to Kelly's left. Trying Page again. Campbell right up there. Page nicely on his body and a flick on as well. Francis winning again in the air. Bridges with Hind at his heels. Played on for Posse. What a magnificent ball. Posse hitting it. Oh, and a tremendous goal. What a tremendous goal by Posse. A superb pass by Bridges and a goal in 1,000 by Derek Posse. What a goal that makes you forget the cold, and a goal that puts Millwall 2 ahead, created unmistakably by Bridges and hit unmistakably by Posse. Millwall, who really were quite outstanding in this first 20 minutes when they scored those 2 goals. Dunphy. Posse. But somehow gone marginally off the boil, but here's a chance for Bridges! Yes! Oh, a disastrous back pass there, and coming right on the boil again. George Smith. A terrible back pass. I don't know whether he's being consoled there by Hind, but the back pass that went straight to Bridges, and Bridges making no mistake whatsoever.
Unbeaten at home during the 71-72 season, Millwall's record away from Coldblow Lane was also impressive. Against Norwich, the Lions featured in an exciting draw.
Kitchener in some trouble there. Cross puts him under great pressure. Here's Livermore, but Kitchener getting hold of it in the end. Can he get it away? Oh, a good opening. But the tackle a little bit tight. Oh, that's a great one. It's a beautiful touch. Posse, the scorer. Livermore. Dunphy though. Ken Foggo. And it's a good one for Anderson. Can he get there? He can. It's there. It's really electric here. Bridges moving to the near post. Cripps right at the back.
The final climax of the season came in the final match at home to Preston. Millwall needed a win, as well as defeat for rivals Birmingham. When Posse put the Lions ahead, the first half of that equation was heading for the right result.
Trying to get in for Bolland, and that came off a Preston player. For Posse, he must make this one go, and he has, Derek Posse! 20 minutes gone, and Millwall get the goal they wanted. To help relieve their tension and anxiety, it came off a Preston defender, a deflection, and Posse pounced, and Kelly had so little chance. Dunphy to Posse, on for Alder. Looks a little more promising for Millwall. And a good looking cross, and it's there! Oh, it's there! Bridges is claiming it. There must be some doubt whether that came off Hawkins. The number 5 who was right in there. But it's a second goal that counts. The swift stab down the left, Alder's cross, Hawkins and Bridges going for it. And the crowd now, the police in fact, are having trouble behind that Preston goal, are having trouble keeping people off. And that crossbar is almost buckling to breaking point. Barry Bridges has gone down there to implore them to get away. Millwall don't want this match stopped now. They have never seen such scenes as this. Down in the Old Kent Road. And they think it's all over. And indeed, it is all over. And the crowd are absolutely flooding the den at Millwall, because Millwall have won by 2 goals to 0. Derek Posse and Barry Bridges, they're 2 faithful strikers, and the word has crept down from Sheffield that Birmingham were losing up there.
But sadly, reports that Birmingham had lost against Sheffield Wednesday were misinformed. Millwall had missed promotion by a single point. Having missed out on promotion to the First Division in May 1972, manager Benny Fenton found it hard to lift the Lions, but the next couple of seasons had their moments.
Dunphy takes to Cripps. It's there!
By him, and a good cross there by Alder. Oh, and a beautiful goal scored by Clark. Barry and Clark poised under that one. Smethurst coming in. Wood is there too. Will it go? It's there, and it must go down well, Wood. Takes them such a good position. Oh, and this time it's Alford. They've been caught out again in defence.
12 months after this 5-goal thriller against Crystal Palace, Millwall were relegated to the 3rd Division. But new boss Gordon Jago lifted the Lions to promotion at the first attempt. The final home match of that season was against Peterborough.
And it's Lee who's down and injured. Summerhill to Walker. Good shot. Brendan goal. Well, Walker made strides there like a good one. And he really hammered a low shot there that gave Steele very little chance into the back of the net. A brilliant opening goal for Millwall. 1-0. And the scorer for them, Phil Walker. Curled in again. Moore turning it right the way back, so Walker will perhaps get another chance. Got Donaldson free and wide. That's where he's played it. Walker. A very nice looking left foot there, but Eustace got that away, only as far as McGrath. Still with McGrath. Still with McGrath. Oh, great goal! Well, McGrath thread his way past 3 or 4 half challenges there, and suddenly there was an opening, and the ball bounced nicely for him, and he hit it beautifully into the roof of that Peterborough net. Millwall 2, Peterborough 0.
Victory a week later in the final match at Swindon saw Millwall promoted in 3rd place. The 70s was destined to prove a decade of ups and downs for Millwall. Under Gordon Jago, the Lions played some attractive soccer. They followed up promotion with some notable performances in their first season back in the 2nd Division.
Hazel wanting the ball and telling him to go forward. That's just what Ray Evans has done. Side towards Summerhill, now Brisley. A chance now on the far side for Salvage, and he scores! A very good goal indeed for Millwall. So well as it went across the face of that Chelsea goal, and a final nice little pass there into the path of Salvage beyond Bonetti, and 1-0. Stanley, Summerhill, Seaman, good ball, well played. Salvage, also nice stuff there as well, and his legs taken from under him. A bit of style at the moment at Millwall. See, that's away to the left of the goal, and let's see, it must be about 26-27 yards out. Kitchener right up on this side with Trevor Lee on this side of the penalty area. Ray Evans is going to hit it. Oh, and what a goal! Past the Chelsea wall, past Peter Bonetti, back of the net, 2-0. Seaman, all good play by Seaman. Salvage again, got to the byline, nice cross coming in. Well, that was a superb goal. Somehow Salvage hurdled the opposition, got to the byline, crossed accurately under pressure. Brisley had sneaked right in there, off the crossbar. It might have hit Bonetti as it came down, and it landed in the back of the net. 3-0. Pucillo, a nice little back header there for Alan West. A good long shot, a goal! Out of nowhere, a spectacular goal for Luton Town. Scored by their number 8 Alan West, his first goal of the season. It looked almost a speculative shot, and it completely took Ray Goddard by surprise into the back of the net. Well, that's a sad blow for Millwall, and a great start for Luton on a ground where traditionally they never do particularly well, and certainly the Den is never the easiest ground for visiting sides. West is injured for the moment. Millwall have lost only one at home, and that was against Blackburn. Here's Ray Evans now, hoping that they can repair the damage. Phil Walker. Got wide again there. Barry Kitchener right in there. He scored! Well, I'm blowed. That's 2 goals in the matter of a minute with only 3.5 minutes gone. Well, the last thing in the world that Luton could have expected was for Barry Kitchener to have been one left unmarked on that far side, and he scored plenty with his head in the past, but this time a really rifling drive makes it 1-1. Here's Chambers. Aston's back header. And Hazel on his way again for Millwall. Well played. Finding Lee. Attacking Buckley. Gone past him. Got it back well. And Brisley! So Terry Brisley has scored again. But the goal made without any question at all by Trevor Lee. He attacked the full-back. He got to the byline with a lot of skill, screwed it back well. And Terry Brisley was there to put Millwall into the lead. Well, that's the 3rd successive game in which Terry Brisley has scored. Millwall 2, Luton 1. And Donaldson will curl this in with the right foot. Too high for Lee. Aston away to West. Good ball there, played first time to Husband, who was just onside, and Luton have sprung 2, 4, 5 men forward. Paul Fuchs is one of them. Here's Fucillo brought down. That's got to be a penalty, and it is. Pointing to the spot, no argument, but that was a beautiful move. They sprung men forward. There were 5 of them springing into that Millwall penalty area. It came through to Fucillo, brought down, penalty. Well, here's the chance then for Luton Town to get that equaliser. Steve Buckley is the man, a defender, given that responsibility to beat Ray Donald. Buckley now with the penalty. Oh, 2-2. Young Chris Harris hobbling rather badly there now. Millwall number 9. Handball claimed and handball given. Another free kick for Millwall. So another dangerous pinprick here for Luton Town. Kitchener up on the far side. Harris in there, Seaman in there, so too is Shanahan and Walker. Lee on the far side, and even Donaldson too. Hazel with a long cross. Trevor Lee on the far side. Barry Kitchener tried to get in. Harris with the header. Walker forced it in. It's there. Walker must take the credit. Goal given. Finally forced over the line. There was a tremendous scramble in that Luton goal, and it was Walker who got the touch that really counted, and it to stop on the line, just over the line before Shanahan got the touch. That was my view. Lee. Donaldson has linked up as well. Brisley. That should be Barbers, and it is. Well, they pushed a few forward. If Luton could have broken quickly, that might have been interesting, but they couldn't. And it comes to Phil Walker. Played on again there. For Seaman! Yes! Against his own club! Right in injury time, and John Seaman, the man who got married last Saturday, or last Sunday rather, came back from a honeymoon to play, has scored in injury time against his old club. And what a good goal it was too, to make a final scoreline, which is surely what it will be now.
OK, now it's time for you, Kevin, to tell us about the third match.
Well, the third match comes from Lancashire, and it's a second division battle between Burnley and Millwall, played yesterday at Turf Moor. The game was covered by Granada Television. The reporter is Gerald Sinstad, and Burnley are in the dark shirts. And we're sorry about the first goal, but it was so quick. Not only did Stevenson, the Burnley goalkeeper, miss it, but the cameraman missed it as well. So we apologise for that.
Donaldson rolls it for Hazel. And Hazel tries a shot! What a goal! Tony Hazel from 30 yards. Sharkey again, and Brisley available. Throw off the outside of the wrong foot, and Robinson gets it away to Somerby. Somerby instantly into the path of Cochrane, and a chance for the boy to show his speed now. Well balanced and set for the left foot shot, and what a beautiful goal! Credit to Mike Somerby for releasing the ball quickly and giving Cochrane a chance to show what a beautifully balanced runner he is. As he cut inside, it was never quite clear which way he was going to go, but once he balanced himself for the left foot, the shot was as true as an arrow. Tony Hazel bounces the ball twice, raises a hand, that may have been a signal. Lee, and that's gone in, and who got the last touch there, I've no idea. The free kick taken by Hazel, Lee got up, and there was a scramble of bodies in the 6-yard area. Nobody seemed able to get a firm control of the ball, and it ran on into the net. And once again it's brought away by Lee. Foul is given. Brennan was the culprit. Tony Hazel to take it, and there's another let-off there for Millwall. Well, maybe not so much a let-off. If you've got a man well positioned on the line, you're entitled to the credit for it. It's the man who did it, Evans. Lee, Brisley. Evans streaking in to play the cross, and what a beauty it was! And a lovely goal! Scored by Barry Fairbrother, and that makes it 3-1. And Fairbrother celebrates his 200th league game with his third goal of the season.
Frustratingly, the 70s were destined to end on the low note. George Petchey took over as manager in 1978, and the following year came relegation for the second time in 5 seasons. This match at Bramall Lane was one of the season's few away wins.
Experiment today, it's Tamerod and Smith, but it's Walker for Millwall. Allowed to run all the way and making the most of the chance, the goal for Phil Walker. With 7 minutes gone and a real blow for Sheffield United. Well, they built it up down the left, but there was space for Walker, and with perhaps 1 or 2 defenders slow to close him down, he was allowed to run on and slipped it into the back of the net. The only point all I've ever got in league visits here came a couple of years ago, and they may have a chance here for Seasman. Yes, after Mitchell had broken, and it looks like 2 points this afternoon. Well, Mickey Spate all over the place. Mitchell making the most of the opportunity, pulling it back right into the stride of John Seasman, who made no mistake.
Millwall would have to wait 6 years before they finally returned to Division 2, and the man who masterminded the Lions' return was rookie manager George Graham. When Graham took charge in December 1982, Millwall were bottom of the 3rd Division. But the new boss pulled the Lions clear when his side landed a 1-0 win in the final match at Chesterfield. It was Graham's second full season in charge that ended with promotion. Top scorer that season was Steve Lovell, with 20 goals in the league and 6 in the Cup. The Lions finished runners-up behind Bradford City, whose celebrations were ruined by one of soccer's worst ever disasters, the fire at Valley Parade that killed more than 50 people. Millwall's achievement, which included an FA Cup run all the way to the 6th round, was marred by a night of madness when their quarter-final defeat at Luton ended in violence. On a happier note, Millwall's promotion was complemented by winning the Football League trophy. The Lions beat Lincoln City 3-2 in a forerunner to the full Members' Cup. In 1986, George Graham was snapped up by Arsenal. John Docherty took over as manager, and Coldblow Lane began to warm to a striker who would rewrite the club's record books. His name was Teddy Sherringham, and Super Ted was destined to become the club's most prolific goal scorer of all time.
When did you feel you'd really settled down at Millwall?
That was probably when John Docherty came to the club, along with Frank McClintock. I was playing up front in his teams week in, week out, and that gives you a hell of a lot of confidence when you know you're playing the next week. And I think I played every game the first season that John Docherty was here, and that was probably my first starting career.
Was that managerial partnership important in bringing the best out of you?
Yeah, it was. The first year it was a little bit hard. He didn't make any signings, but the second year, when we had our promotion run, I think it was 87, he bought some good players, and it made it a little bit easier, and it was enjoyable to play under them at that stage, yeah.
In 1988, the Lions finally fulfilled their greatest ambition when they made it all the way to the top flight for the first time in their 103-year history.
Carter's cross. Lawrence is there, gets the header in. Hilton, it's a goal! Cascarino forces it in the net. Cleary. Alvin Martin, Carter. Sherringham gets the shot in. It's a goal! Curl it in with that cultured left foot of his. In fact, he knocks it back to Hurlock. Hurlock plays an easy one. Oh, and it must be a goal. A great save by Digby, and a header from Cascarino. The first shot from Alan McCleary. A brilliant save by Fraser Digby, but the rebound falls to Tony Cascarino, who heads Millwall into the lead. Well, a penalty from Kevin O'Callaghan secured that victory at Hull, which gives the Lions the championship with a game in hand. A remarkable season for them. And before this afternoon's game gets underway, they will be presented with the Second Division Championship trophy. Here come the champions then. Reg Burr, the Millwall chairman, at the head. John Docherty and Frank McClintock in the red tracksuit tops. The official presentation to the Millwall team. And there's the skipper, Les Briley. He'll lift the trophy as well. Little Ian Wilson by his side. There's the trophy.
Sherringham had established one of the game's most lethal partnerships with twin striker Tony Cascarino, and in Millwall's first season in Division 1, it was their combination that enabled the Lions to make a real impact.
Hurlock gets the ball back, but only as far as McCall. And little Tony Cotty once again offside. Well, as yet the two big central defenders of Millwall managing to catch Cotty offside 4 or 5 times in the first half, but that certainly is a dangerous game to play with such a nippy player as Cotty. As they get the cross in now to Cascarino's header, and he scored! Tony Cascarino from a George Lawrence cross puts Millwall in the lead. Two fit into a team that's doing very well as Cascarino breaks again, gets the better Snowden and shoots. While Cascarino's so close. And just to clear the trouble now, Lawrence for Millwall finds Sherringham on the right. A lovely pass from George Lawrence. He's got Cascarino right across the goal. He tries to put Lawrence in once again. Lawrence shoots. It's off the post, and Cascarino scores his second goal. It's Millwall 2, Everton 0.
I think in a roundabout way I've missed Teddy more than Teddy's missed me. Teddy's gone on scoring, and I felt not playing with a partner at club level didn't really help me so much. I didn't realise how lucky I was to play with someone as good as Teddy at the time.
I do miss him.
I'm going to get the Yankee out in a minute.
You're being very kind, but what are his bad points?
He's tight. No, I don't know. I don't really think Teddy's got too many bad points. I think he just generally is a good all-round player, and that's shown for the way he scored goals and how many different types of goals he scores, not only headers. I was always renowned for scoring a lot of good headers. I didn't feel I used to score enough on the ground, but I think Teddy scores generally in a lot of ways.
Millwall's first ever game in Division 1 came at Villa Park on August 27, 1988.
Oh, there's a mistake by a rather nervy Alan Evans. Sheringham finding doors. It's Cascarino again. He's scored again. This is incredible. Two in 2 minutes for Millwall, for Cascarino.
A week later, the Lions staged their first Division 1 match at the Den, and it was Sherringham who stole the headlines with the only goal.
But it's played to Sherringham, comes across to O'Callaghan, it's run loose, it goes in off O'Callaghan. Millwall have scored. They've scored their first goal in the First Division at the Den. A scramble in the box, the ball put across by George Lawrence. O'Callaghan tried to get on the end of it, it came back off Shulton, ricocheted once or twice in the box.
On October the 1st of 1988 came another historic moment for Millwall. Victory in a 5-goal thriller against Queen's Park Rangers sent the Lions to the very top of the tree for the first time.
Hurlock having a hand in number 1.
Cascarino, oh, it's in! Tony Cascarino, as Nicky Johns looks accusingly at his defenders. A characteristically splendid header from Tony Cascarino after 13 minutes has put the Lions in front. Steen's ball, and now Francis. And Francis who shot, oh, it's crept in. Trevor Francis has equalised in Rangers' first real attempt on goal. And that might perk Rangers up a bit because they've spent a lot of time going backwards, but they could be in trouble now because they've let Hurlock in and Cascarino onside, and the goal is given. Well, Rangers giving it away as soon as they've got one back. Woods chip forward. Cascarino eventually crowded out. And Hurlock catches them again, and Hurlock hits one. Oh, it's a third! Terry Hurlock has got it himself. Well, Rangers are paying very dearly indeed for their errors in defence. A second Millwall goal in the space of 4 minutes. Morgan to need another break. Sherringham to his left. Donald crunching in, and Morgan still got it. And Sherringham. A little chip over Johns, and Johns got back to it. And disallowed. Martin Allen now getting Faraday away. Short cross, Francis misses it, Steen lays it out. Allen goes down, Steen's still there. Oh, wanted a penalty against Hurlock. And it's given. It's given. And there'll be bookings as well, the referee indicates, if you don't go away and get on with it. And for Francis, a chance for his second of the afternoon and fourth of the season. Francis against Horn. Oh, what a save! Knocked out and then held. And congratulations all round for Brian Horn, from players and crowd. Not a very long run by Trevor Francis. 2 steps, flipped it towards the right. Maybe a little near the goalkeeper, but a lot of credit to Brian Horn for that save. It stays then. Trevor Francis thwarted, tries to knock one in instead. Falls for Allen. Oh, and Horn can't keep that one out.
A few anxious moments, but Cascarino's 2 and that Hurlock right footer had taken Millwall top. Those jam workers would be so proud, and Sherringham and Cascarino flabbergasted.
What was the feeling like when you actually got back in the dressing room after QPR, knowing that you were top of the league after just 5 weeks?
Well, it's hard to believe, really. You come into the first division, you just want to do well for yourselves, and at the start of the season we just didn't want to show ourselves up, and then when we was top of the first division, then it's just a different kettle of fish, and it's lovely.
Millwall eventually finished their first campaign in Division 1 in 10th position. The following season, another impressive start for John Docherty's team took the Lions back to the top when they hammered Coventry City 4-1 at the Den.
What a shot coming, is a goal! Oh my word, what a start! Teddy Sherringham, the scorer. Sherringham, the man to the left. Riley facing us. Carter with the 7 on his shirt. Hurlock to the right. And then Stevens. Scotty coming off the wall. Sherringham hits it as a deflection. It's there! Teddy Sherringham scores his second goal of the game.
After such an impressive start, the speed of Millwall's decline proved hard to swallow. Not a single win in the final 20 matches ended in relegation. A run that cost Docherty the manager's job, and after a brief caretaker spell for Bob Pearson, Bruce Rioch accepted the challenge of trying to get Millwall back in the top flight. He nearly succeeded at the first attempt, thanks largely to an incredible season for Teddy Sherringham. His 38-goal haul for the season equalled the club record, and his 33 league goals took Millwall to the playoffs, but it all ended in disappointment against Brighton.
In that final game, we really needed to go out and attack them, and that's what we did. We kept them on the ropes for 45 minutes, and then just a couple of minutes in the second half, we just cracked again, and that was it really. All the boys' legs just went. Although we were still playing and having that little glimmer of hope, we were done really.
9 months later, Rioch's reign turned full circle when a crushing 6-1 defeat at Portsmouth was followed by his resignation. Mick McCarthy eventually won the vote to succeed Rioch as player-manager, an appointment that meant McCarthy was destined to become the last Millwall manager at Coldblow Lane. McCarthy's first full season in charge will forever be an historic one in the life of Millwall Football Club. After 82 dramatic years at the old stadium, the Lions were ready to fulfil the dream of moving into a brand new luxury den, a stadium fit for the 21st century. Millwall had come a long way since 1885, when the club was formed on the Isle of Dogs by the workers at Morton's jam factory. This was how the new den started, acres of wasteland, little more than the proverbial goal kick from Coldblow Lane itself. Lewisham Borough Council provided the financial support and the necessary planning permission to make the move possible. Fittingly, the Mayor of Lewisham performed the official groundbreaking ceremony. 4 lucky fans were invited to share in the club's historic occasion. Chairman Reg Bird succeeded in getting the ambitious scheme underway.
It will consist of 20,000 seats with uninterrupted viewing, 32 hospitality boxes with indoor and outdoor seating, 200 seats for disabled spectators with lifts, so that they're not going to be stuck in one corner. They can go anywhere they like on the 2 concourses. A sports leisure centre, 3 5-a-side pitches, a play area, a restaurant for between 500 and 700 people, and innumerable points for fast food and beverages.
So in the league table of stadiums in England, where will Millwall rate when it's built?
For amenity and quality, it will be number 1.
I think the initiative here at Millwall is very impressive, and the Trust was very pleased to play its part in supporting the club by awarding our largest ever grant to them, £2.5 million.
Well, I've had the pressure pill thrown to me there from the Vice Chairman, Peter Mead. He did say we would like to play the first game in the Premier League, but I did say to him, well, so would I. So it would be nice, wouldn't it? It's an exciting time.
It must be nice to be in charge of a team which is such adventurous in both off the field and on the field matters.
Well, it is, but you don't want to get too involved in the off the field matters. I mean, it's nice the fact that they are ambitious. They are an ambitious board and an ambitious club. Certainly, as a new manager, I'm ambitious to do well, and it would be nice to start a new season in the Premier League here.
By opening a new stadium, it frees up the old stadium, which will now be used for housing, and the land that's going to be used for the stadium wasn't suitable for housing. So it's from the community point of view, we'll get the homeless will be looked after, and the football fraternity will be looked after.
It would be nice to see Millwall celebrate the start of the new stadium in the Premier League.
Oh, I've got a promise from the chairman that that's going to happen.
The groundbreaking ceremony completed, it wasn't long before the new stadium began to look like a stadium. With each day that passed, the club's ambitious construction was taking shape. It wouldn't be long now before the bulldozers moved in at Coldblow Lane to mark the end of a special era. Sadly, it was a season destined to end without a fairy tale promotion. But the Lions demonstrated their goal-scoring might, twice producing 6 of the best. Frustratingly, the goals ran dry when Millwall needed them most at the end of the season. The dream of signing off at the Old Den with promotion was not to be, despite this winner in the final London derby at the famous Old Stadium. The last ever match at Coldblow Lane came on the 8th of May 1993. The outcome of the game with Bristol Rovers was academic, but the occasion was one no Millwall fan wanted to miss.
Personally, I think we've got such good fans that I don't listen. You could put them in a hole in the back of Beyond and there'd be an atmosphere. So I think we'll take that with us. But it's sad, isn't it?
As we, like my mate said, a little bit sad, you know. But we've got to move on. It's a lovely ground we're going into. We shall miss this, you know. Well, we've been coming here since, what, 59, Ed? Yeah, you know, we've seen some ups and downs, more downs I think, but always enjoyed it, haven't we?
How do you feel about leaving the stadium behind?
I'm going to cry today, actually. Believe it or not, I'm a grown-up man, but I'm going to cry.
We should spend a little bit more money on players rather than a stadium. I think players, a team's more important than a stadium.
Bridges with Hind at his heels. Played on for Posse. What a magnificent ball. Posse hitting it. Oh, and a tremendous goal. What a tremendous goal by Posse.
Harry Cripps for the second in the
Millwall fans, don't forget, a great reception today for you.
Oh yeah, great. The fans, fantastic.
It's very important for the club to take the supporters with them to the new ground. Do you think they can do that?
Yeah, they'll do well because the fans, well, you can't say anything about the fans. Fantastic.
And that was against Blackburn. Here's Ray Evans now, hoping that they can repair the damage. Phil Walker. Not wide again there. Barry Kitchener right in there. He scored! Well, I'm blowed. That's 2 goals in the matter of a minute with only 3.5 minutes gone.
Barry, here we are, 83 years at the Den. It must be hard to believe that this is the final day.
Yeah, it's hard to believe at the moment what the atmosphere and the crowd here. It just doesn't seem possible, but every good thing has to come to an end, I suppose, and hopefully it'll be just as good at the new ground than it has been here. You know.
You never forget a hero here at the Den, and you got a great reception today.
Yeah, marvellous. You know, always a bit of a tearjerker, really. It's very emotional when you come down back to the Den because it's a lovely homely club, and I enjoyed every minute when I was down here. You know, so it's very emotional when I come back.
A perfect centre gives Mangrove the opportunity to head his second goal, and the Giant Killers pass into the semi-finals, the first third division team ever to do so.
And they think it's all over, and indeed it is all over. And the crowd are absolutely flooding the Den at Millwall.
You missed out on the playoffs, but people have come here for a celebration.
Yeah, it's nice to see. I'm delighted that the fans have turned out such great numbers. I mean, I think there'll be 1 or 2 people here just coming to be here at the last day at the Den. But great, it makes for a great atmosphere. Let's hope it's a good result for us.
Will be a touch of emotion at 4:45 then for you?
Yeah, there will be. I'm sure there is. Well, the emotion gets to everybody, doesn't it? I just don't, as I keep saying, I don't want it to get to the players. There's a game going on here today, and we want to win. All right, it's not going to affect our position too much. There's a bit of pride. Now, I don't want to leave here on a defeat.
You come close this season, but next year with a new stadium and the experience you've gained, can you win promotion?
Well, the new stadium, I don't know how that's going to help or hinder us, but if we can keep this team together, yes, we'll do all right.
Can you keep it together?
I don't see why not. I'm not under any pressure to sell. Nobody's told me otherwise. The only problem is, as we all know, players are ambitious, and if a big club comes in for somebody, then they get unsettled, and that's the problem. It's not keeping them here with pressure from the chairman or the directors. It's keeping them here from, I think, pressure from ambitious players as much as anything, and we have got good and ambitious players.
You must be proud of what you've achieved so far. I know you haven't won promotion, but you've got a good team spirit here.
Yeah, we have got a great team spirit. I'm delighted with what we've done, tinged with a little bit of sadness and disappointment at missing out on the playoffs.
Mick McCarthy urged his players to sign off with a performance to be proud of, but Rock Bottom Rovers were hell-bent on spoiling the party. By the time the 90 minutes were up, Millwall's emotional fans had long lost interest in the outcome of a game their side was always destined to lose. It was time now for the souvenir hunters to move in and claim their last memories of Coldblow Lane. At the end of the day, people will still look back. They'll still look back at the Den with fond memories.
Oh, I think so. People have been here from kids. I spoke to a man who's been here for 50 years, and most of them have been here for a long, long time, and their parents before them, and their children after them. And it's a big wrench, and you have to. I understand it. It is a big wrench to leave here. But it's inevitable. If we didn't leave here, we'd end up in the Vauxhall Conference.
At the end of the day, you're the man who's probably taking the brunt of it. How do you feel about the personal insults that have flown about?
I think that if you have any position in football, if you can't take what's dished out to you, you shouldn't be in the game. Not that it makes it pleasant, because it doesn't, and it makes you angry and it makes you wonder whether it's all worthwhile, but it is for the last bulk of decent people.
That's probably the point, really. For a lot of people, they still came here today, and they'll still be happy that they were here at the final day at the Den.
I think they'll be happy that we're here at the final day of the Den, and I think the bulk of them are overwhelmingly happy that they're moving to a new ground and into a new era.
So really, you've got to look forward on a positive note.
You have to look forward in life, in all sorts of every walk of life. There's no point in living in the past. You have to live in the present and in the future.
The souvenir hunters had stripped the Den bare, leaving the condemned stadium looking a sorry sight. All that remained now were the memories of years gone by, of past glories and heroes who'd played in front of passionate crowds. It would never be the same again. The bulldozers were next on stage at the Den, and soon the crumbling stadium would be gone forever. It was the end of an era. Time to move forward with progress to a new stadium equipped for the 21st century. At Senegal Fields, the new Den was finally ready. A magnificent stage for the club's new dreams.
There you go.
£15 million have been spent on giving the Lions a modern Den to be proud of. The moving in ceremony was carried out before the opening game against Bobby Robson's Sporting Lisbon.
Taken, neatly switched by Allen for Luscombe. Now it's going to come across, and there's Roberts, and the first goal has been scored by John Kerr. The American has the honour of making history with the first goal ever at the new Den. And fittingly, it's Millwall who score against Sporting Club de Portugal. The free kick had been taken quickly, and eventually when the ball came across, Lemijic couldn't do much about it, especially when Kerr was stationed no more than a couple of yards out. Figo again. Good attacking player, Luis Figo, international. Oh, and that's a delightful ball inside the penalty area, and he goes down, it's a penalty. Not much doubt in the referee's mind about that. McCarthy, the youngster, making the trip, and is this to be the first goal conceded by Millwall in their new home? No, a good save, but the goal still is scored by Cadetti. A brave effort by Keller. He's captain by Paulo Torres. He's not running low, he's so clever. Terrific play this from Balakov, and he might tee up the winner for Juskowiak. Juskowiak scores for Sporting Portugal, and again the credit has to go to Balakov, who might well have deprived Millwall of a victory on their opening night.
The Lions had to wait until September to christen their brand new home with a win.
With a free kick.
Ironically, it came against Mick McCarthy's former club, Barnsley.
Just touches it for Huxford. Played a little late, but they've got it into the danger zone. Huxford again. Didn't quite get over it. Little unlucky there. The ball kicking up very high. This is Verveer. Oh, beautiful skill from Verveer. It must be. It's there. John Kerr, the scorer. Huxford. Ray getting stuck in. The shot. Oh, he's found the net. 2-0. And that surely has wrapped it up for Millwall.
It turned out to be a good season for Millwall, and 5 wins in a row before Christmas sent the Lions roaring into the promotion pack. Optimism soared when 1994 started in brilliant fashion, with a stunning 3-0 win over promotion rivals and neighbours Crystal Palace. It was Millwall's performance of the season against the eventual champions. The Lions, meanwhile, had to settle for a place in the playoffs, where the season fell apart in disastrous fashion against Derby County. The following season again saw Mick McCarthy's men mount a dazzling pre-Christmas run. This time the Lions ended the year with 6 wins out of 6. That earned Mick McCarthy his first ever Manager of the Month award. But once again promotion proved elusive, in a season that will long be remembered for 3 classic cup victories. A stunning victory at Nottingham Forest took Millwall to the quarter-finals of the Coca-Cola Cup for the first time in 16 years.
With either of Alan Wilkie's decisions on the caution so far. Both deserved. Keith Stevens, the Millwall captain, one of their great stalwarts, around the penalty spot for the free kick. Dave Mitchell just behind him. Oh, and it's gone straight in. What a remarkable goal. Greg Berry has given Millwall the lead. Crossley stunned, and those Millwall supporters cannot believe the start their team have made here. The merest of touches, and Berry has given Millwall a shot lead. Crossley flat-footed. It only took the slightest touch for Greg Berry, the former Wimbledon striker, to steer the ball into the corner of the Forest net. Persistent play by Lee, but he just couldn't keep the ball for long enough. Now Savage, Beard. There's more shape and pattern to the Millwall play at the moment than Nottingham Forest's. In fairness to Forest, they have been disrupted by those early injuries. And suddenly the ball is presented to Berry, who could make it number 2, and has done so. Chettle's mistake, and Berry accepts the gift. And Millwall lead 2-0. 4 minutes to half-time. Well, it was poor defending, really. In fairness to Chettle, I suppose he got the ball caught up between his feet. But once he'd presented it to Berry in that position, there was only one outcome. And it was there that Chettle made the fatal error. Good finish. His second of the game.
The highlight of 1995 was an outstanding run in the FA Cup, It began with an epic third-round win at Highbury, a sweet victory that earned the Lions revenge for a controversial cup defeat against the Gunners 12 months earlier.
Here's Van Blurk, just hit it in, they've scored. Mark Bean arrives at the back post, and where was Arsenal's defence? Gone, and the team from Division 1 opened the scoring at Highbury, and Arsenal's woe continues. Jason Van Blurk coming up from left back. He skipped into acres of space with Linnigan hopelessly out of position, and what a simple tap-in. And what was the edge goal in 11 minutes, increasingly looking as though it will put Millwall into the fourth round and inflict another defeat on Arsenal. Kennedy, oh, it's two! It's all over now. Mark Kennedy with a sensational strike. And Millwall's place in round 4 and a home tie against Chelsea is now confirmed, and it was always a danger with that increasing commitment to attack in the search for the equaliser, that they'd leave themselves vulnerable. And what a shot to beat David Seaman.
Millwall completed their hat-trick of cup upsets against Chelsea. Once again, the first encounter at the Den had ended in stalemate. And once again, the Lions emerged as the pride of London, this time in a dramatic penalty shootout.
First time the coin landed on its side. Martin Bottenham has got all the other players in the centre circle other than the two now involved. It will be Dave Savage to start the penalty competition for Millwall, and Millwall lead 1-0. Did really well when he came on as a substitute, and has now done his job from the penalty spot. Calmly placed, side foot, goalkeeper going the other way. Casey Keller takes over from Dimitri Klarin, and Mark Steen scored one and missed one. Last one. It's 1-1. American goalkeeper turns away, chewing. That's not a bad policy. Headed hard. Pretty straight, but with enough pace to beat the goalkeeper. He now becomes a spectator again, as Jason Van den Broek steps up for Millwall. The NZ League team lead 2-1. Good penalties so far. Again, Karim chose the wrong way to go. Dennis Wise next. Very easy, although of course it never is. Kevin Hitchcock applauding. The goalkeepers have been spectators so far. Four taken, four scored. Now Keith Stevens. Millwall lead again, 3-2. Clive Allen among those applauding. Craig Burley places the ball. And they're making it look very simple indeed. Side foot. Reasonable power, but the goalkeeper had already gone the other way. Andy Roberts next. Barely a couple of paces back. Again, side foot, again, the goalkeeper the wrong way. And once again, Chelsea have to come from behind. Bit of pressure, extra pressure now on David Lee. Well, he wouldn't have known it. Power, successful. All square at 4-4. The last of Millwall's regular 5 penalties will be taken by Alec Gray. (5-4) Millwall. Goalkeepers really haven't had a sniff. Karim moving all over the place, well beaten, and John Spencer, of course, now has to score. And he doesn't, and Millwall go through.
The Lions began their 110th anniversary year in style, and it was destined to end with optimism about the future. Thanks to the stewardship of retired chairman Reg Burr, Millwall Football Club were ready for the 21st century, with a stadium to be proud of. Thanks to the managerial skills of Mick McCarthy, his young Lions had good reason to be confident, starting their 111th season by setting the early pace at the top of the table.